I actually think we're live. Yeah, okay, we're up and running. Folks, welcome in. For those of you joining. No, the notification just went out. You're lucky if you get anybody in the first minute. That's why a video game's nice, because I could sit there awkwardly and just play. With this, I'm like, I don't know, I'm bugging. So, folks, we are live in Hawaii. That's right, baby.
Super late for most of the viewers.
It is, isn't it? What time is it right now? It's like 10:17. They love it when I stream at this time. I think. Probably not, actually. Oh, well, somebody's here. It's the wild meerkat. Gabriella waves to you, Zach. She waves to you. Guys, we are live in Hawaii. Can you believe it? Beautiful Maui. Actually, it's a little cloudy right now back there, but it is just super nice to be here. Good to see you, Zach. Welcome in, brother. I figured I would share some Gulliver's Travels story times with you guys from the trip yesterday. Where to begin? Alright, so we woke up at like 4 in the morning after not sleeping at all. Gabriella slept for maybe like an hour and I slept for about 3. We get on the plane and we're sitting on the tarmac. And I don't even know how long goes by. We sit on the tarmac for like a half hour. We start to taxi and the pilot comes on over the radio.
Waiting for someone to get on the plane.
Yeah, they were waiting to get off the plane.
They held it for someone to get on at first.
Okay, so they were holding it for somebody to get on the plane.
When does that happen?
All the time. If you're a VIP. I'm not a VIP. So they were waiting for somebody to get on the plane. We start taxiing. Somebody threw up on the plane and they had to go back to the terminal and deboard them. Which, feel bad for that person, that sucks. But it was one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, this is killing us. You know somebody missed a connecting flight because of this too. So we were an hour late to our arrival time. Why don't you come over here and just help me out? You're better at storytelling than me. Anyways. So we were an hour late. Luckily we were fine. We landed in Colorado, Denver airport. And then boarded our next flight. No screens on the next flight, which is not good for an iPad baby like me. I was struggling that flight. That one from Denver to Hawaii was about 7 hours in the air. And that's the first time I've ever gotten a meal while flying, which was a unique experience. Got some it was like beef and rice, some other goodies with it was like wooden silverware. Honestly, not bad. I enjoyed that. But then after we ate, maybe like 20 minutes, 30 minutes after we ate, the guy in the row like behind and to the left of me started choking. And I think it was his wife started like being like, help, he's choking. He was like convulsing in his seat. And the flight attendants started gathering around him. Somebody was behind him, like, it looked like he was going to try to do the Heimlich, and then he just didn't. He put his hands, like, here on the guy, and I was getting up to, like, try to help, and then I think it was, like, a nurse or a doctor jumped over everybody right behind him and gave him the Heimlich and, like, saved his life. Thank God. And she's like, sorry, guys, for jumping over you. We're like, good. You shouldn't be sorry. We're glad you didn't let anybody perish on the plane. Great job. But man, I don't know. That's one hell of a thing to have happen to you on a flight. I guess there are worse things, but Hopefully that dude's okay now. Alright, that being said, we got to Hawaii. We get on this tram, go to our rental car. Rental car took forever. I'm not complaining too much because at least I was in Hawaii at that point. Oh my gosh, guys, it's just so beautiful. We keep seeing like lizards and salamanders, so we're trying to put together like a TikTok or something of the lizard. Geckos. Trying to put together like a lizard meme. You know the one. You know the drill. That'll be fun. And I'm trying to think what else. We went and got some pina coladas today by the beach, which was dope. This is my first time off of mainland US. This is like my first like true vacation, I would say, from anywhere. Oh yeah, we're in it. Storytime stream it is. But yeah, this is my first time off mainland US. And I feel like a lot of people are surprised by that. I don't know if it's because I know like a sickeningly amount of stuff about random countries, or because I'm old. But yeah, I don't know. This is the first time, so getting to know the culture here a little bit, trying to learn the Hawaiian words a little bit. It's good. We went out in the ocean, and Gabriella's sister, her boyfriend, Gabriella, and myself, we started playing Monkey in the Middle with the ball. Gabriella and I decided to get best purchase of the week so far. And the waves were just coming in and just cracking our backs as we were playing Monkey in the Middle. A lot of fun. But then Gabriella's mom came and started playing with us. And the ball went far towards the shore. And Gabriella's sister and her mom both went after it. Gabriella's mom literally tackled her daughter and got the ball so she didn't have to be in the middle. Come in the frame.
Why don't you turn so that the lighting's better?
I wanted everyone to see the background.
Oh, why don't
I want to look at you can actually see the ocean and another island. I thought it was cool. Nobody wants to see the glass, I feel like. I missed a chat too. Let me see. Man's out here being enlightened and people are surprised he hasn't traveled around. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. No, I appreciate that, Nick.
Who else is here?
I don't know for sure. We only get like a viewer count, and then we know
Nick
by
and Zach.
who chats, right? It could be Nick and Zach, but it's also possible Zach stepped out. I think it's Nick and Zach.
Let me tell you, there's a lot of annoying children here.
Yeah, you might hear some. You might have
They might hear me.
It's
They're
my
annoying.
barred by Proxy and Zach. Oh hell yeah. You can tell Gabriella wants kids someday. Destroy them all. Okay, Zach, we will. I know what I have to do. I don't know if I have the strength to do it. Gabriella, would you ever do an Order 66 to younglings?
No.
No?
No.
Why not?
They'd be better use in the mines.
You would just do a little child labor in your empire.
Yes. What's that? What do they like mine in Star Wars?
Kyber crystals?
Yes.
They mine a lot of stuff. Spice. Misa gonna execute Order 66 now, said Yusa.
What?
It's Darth Jar Jar. Are you familiar with the...
Here I am.
She's aura farming on stream. She's mogging on me.
I don't know what that means.
Ah, whatever. Hi, Gabs.
All the children down there watching me dance. They would be so privileged.
It's true. I never went to a place like this when I was a kid.
I know, me neither.
Did I deserve to? Probably not. Probably not. Do I deserve to now? Also no. Also no. But it's one of those, I don't know, that's something I'm going to grapple with my whole life, is being able to enjoy things and not feel guilty about it. I could probably, I don't know, there's probably a lot of trauma I could blame for that. Do you have any other stories from the trip so far that you want to share?
Lizard.
A lizard.
I don't know what else.
Yeah.
I saw a crab, a little baby
Oh
crab.
yeah, she saw a crab. I didn't see it. I really wanted to.
Yes. I was out on the lava rocks.
The lava rocks. I don't think most of us ever went to a place like this, but enjoying things doesn't mean you have suffered at some point for it. Yeah, have to have suffered. Yeah, that's true. Trauma gang. Let's go, trauma gang. You're part of the trauma gang.
I will say though, a really good thing is we're in like a villa, so we like there's a lot of people over, like I guess sharing. So it's a lot of place.
For sharing, you said?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. No, it is nice when you're with a group. Lizards.
Lizard. We should go see if we can find lizards.
And capture them?
No, like on camera. Can we walk with the camera?
We can. We shouldn't. We'll probably lose signal. Lizards.
I would like to show you the lizards.
I'm gonna put together a video of the lizards we found. I've been recording them, so I'll make a TikTok and post it to Discord for you guys. That's all you got for now? Alright, I might do some reading. Come get me if it's time to leave, okay? What do you mean, no? She's gonna leave me here. Alright, guys. Yes or no in chat. Do we do AJK Streams Reads right now? With a beautiful background. Why does it look like I'm holding a Bible and promoting at your doorstep? It's Hatchet. It's Hatchet, so it won't be a one and done. The people need it? Okay. Okay. Can you guys hear me okay, by the way? That's the one thing I'm kind of nervous about. I'm like I remember that in school. It's one of my favorites of all time. Oh, I feel old now. Don't. We're all on this together, brother. So we're a yes on Hatchet? I'm gonna take that as I think we had positive. Also, I apparently have developed some white hairs on the back of my head. Oh, brother, I'm getting the silvers. I'm getting the silvers coming in. I yank those things like I'm freaking Homelander. I'm like, I'm not aging. I'm not old. Alright, yee. Sounds good, my friends. Alright, Hatchet by Gary Paulson. Same, are you getting Grace too, brother? No. I just hit the chat by accident. Okay, I got it back. Alright, here we go, my friends. Hatchet, Chapter 1. I don't know how to pronounce the name already. Alright, Chapter 1. Brian Robinson started... I'm not even drunk right now. I'm struggling. First grade 4 years ago. Really? Surprising. Alright, attempt number 3. Chapter 1. Brian Robinson stared out the window of the small plane at the endless green northern wilderness below. It was a small plane, a Cessna 406, a bush plane, and the engine was so loud, so roaring and consuming and loud, that it ruined any chance for conversation. Not that he had much to say. He was 13, and the only passenger on the plane was a pilot named, what was it? Jim or Jake or something, who was in his mid-40s and who had been silent as he worked to prepare for takeoff. In fact, since Brian had come to the small airport in Hampton, New York, to meet the plane, driven by his mother, the pilot had spoken only 5 words to him: get in the co-pilot seat, which Brian had done. They had taken off, and that was the last of the conversation. There had been the initial excitement, of course. He had never flown in a single-engine plane before, and to be sitting in the co-pilot's seat with all the controls right there in front of him, all the instruments in his face as the plane clawed for altitude, jerking and sliding in the wind currents as the pilot took off, had been interesting and exciting. But in 5 minutes, they had leveled off at 6,000 feet and headed northwest, and from then on, the pilot had been silent, staring out the front, and the drone of the engine had been all that was left. The drone and the sea of green trees that lay before the plane's nose and flowed to the horizon, spread with lakes, swamps, and wandering streams and rivers. Now Brian sat, looking out the window with the roar thundering through his ears, and tried to catalog what had led up to his taking this flight. The thinking started. Always it started with a single word: divorce. It was an ugly word, he thought. A tearing, ugly word that meant fight and yelling, lawyers. God, he thought, how he hated lawyers who sat with their comfortable smiles and tried to explain to him in legal terms how all that he lived in was coming apart. And the breaking and shattering of all the solid things. His home, his life, all the solid things. Divorce, a breaking word, an ugly breaking word. Divorce. Secrets. No, not secrets so much as just the secret. What he knew and had not told anybody, what he knew about his mother that had caused the divorce, what he knew, the secret. Divorce. The secret. Brian felt his eyes beginning to burn and knew there would be tears. He had cried for a time, but that was gone now. He didn't cry now. Instead, his eyes burned and tears came, the seeping tears that burned. But he didn't cry. He wiped his eyes with a finger and looked at the pilot out of the corner of his eye to make sure he hadn't noticed the burning tears. The pilot sat large, his hands lightly on the wheel, feet on the rudder pedals. He seemed more a machine than a man, an extension of the plane. On the dashboard in front of him, Brian saw dials, switches, meters, knobs, levers, cranks, lights, handles that were wiggling and flickering, all indicating nothing that he understood, and the pilot seemed the same way. Part of the plane, not human. When he saw Brian look at him, the pilot seemed to open up for a bit, and he smiled. Ever fly in the co-pilot seat before? He leaned over and lifted the headset off his right ear and put it on his temple, yelling to overcome the sound of the engine. Brian shook his head. He had never been in any kind of plane, never seen the cockpit of a plane except in films or in television. It was loud and confusing. First time. It's not as complicated as it looks. Good plane like this flies itself. The pilot shrugged. Makes my job easy. He took Brian's left arm. Here, put your hands on the controls, your feet on the rudder pedals, and I'll show you what I mean. Brian shook his head. I'd better not. Sure, try it. Brian reached out and took the wheel in a grip so tight his knuckles were white. He pushed his feet down on the pedals. The plane slewed suddenly to the right. Not so hard. Take her light. Take her light. Brian eased off, relaxed his grip. The burning in his eyes was forgotten momentarily as the vibration of the plane came through the wheel and the pedals. It seemed almost alive. See? The pilot let go of his wheel, raised his hands in the air, and took his feet off the pedals to show Brian he was actually flying the plane alone. Simple. Now turn the wheel a little to the right and push on the right rudder pedal a small amount. Brian turned the wheel slightly, and the plane immediately banked to the right. And when he pressed on the right rudder pedal, the nose slid across the horizon to the right. He left off on the pressure and straightened the wheel, and the plane righted itself. Now you can turn. Bring her back to the left a little. Brian turned the wheel left, pushed on the left pedal, and the plane came back around. It's easy, he smiled. At least this part. The pilot nodded. All of the flying is easy. Just takes learning, like everything else. Like everything else. He took the controls back, then reached up and rubbed his left shoulder. Aches and pains. Must be getting old. Brian let go of the controls and moved his feet away from the pedals. What's on my shoulder? Brian let go of the controls and moved his feet away from the pedals as the pilot put his hands on the wheel. Thank you. But the pilot had put his headset back on, and the gratitude was lost in the engine noise, and things went back to Brian looking out the window at the ocean of trees and lakes. The burning eyes did not come back, but memories came flooding in. The words, always the words. Divorce, the secret, fights, split, the big split. Brian's father did not understand as Brian did. Knew only that Brian's mother wanted to break the marriage apart. The split had come, and then the divorce, all so fast, and the court had left him with his mother, except for the summers, and what the judge called visitation rights. So formal. Brian hated judges as he hated lawyers. Judges that leaned over the bench and asked Brian if he understood where he was to live and why. Judges who did not know what had really happened. Judges with the caring look that meant nothing, as lawyers said legal phrases that meant nothing. In the summer, Brian would live with his father. In the school year, with his mother. That's what the judge said after looking at the papers on his desk and listening to the lawyers talk. Words. Now the plane lurched slightly to the right, and Brian looked at the pilot. He was rubbing his shoulder again, and there was a sudden smell of body gas in the plane. Brian turned back to avoid embarrassing the pilot, who was obviously in some discomfort. Must have stomach troubles. So this first summer when he was allowed to have visitation rights with his father, with the divorce only 1 month old, Brian was heading north. His father was a mechanical engineer who had designed or invented a new drill bit for oil drilling, a self-cleaning, self-sharpening bit. He was working in the oil fields of Canada, up on the tree line where the tundra started and the forest ended. Brian was riding up from New York with some drilling equipment. It was latched down in the rear of the plane next to the fabric bag the pilot had called a survival pack, which had emergency supplies in case they had to make an emergency landing. That had to be specially made in the city, riding in the bush plane with a pilot named Jim or Jake or something, who had turned out to be an alright guy, letting him fly and all. Except for the smell. Now there was a constant odor, and Brian took another look at the pilot. Found him rubbing the shoulder and down the arm now, the left arm, letting go more gas and wincing. Probably something he ate, Brian thought. His mother had driven him from the city to meet the plane at Hampton, where it came to pick up the drilling equipment. A drive in silence, a long drive in silence. 2.5 hours of sitting in the car, staring out the window just as he was now staring out the window of the plane. Once, after an hour, when they were out of the city, she turned to him. "Look, can't we talk about this? Can't we talk this out? Can't you tell me what's bothering you?" And there were the words again. Divorce. Split. The secret. How could he tell her what he knew? So he had remained silent, shook his head and continued to stare, unseeing the countryside. And his mother had gone back to driving only to speak to him one more time when they were close to Hampton. She reached over the back of the seat and brought up a paper sack. "I got something for you, for the trip." Brian took the sack and opened the top. Inside there was a hatchet, the kind with a steel handle and a rubber hand grip. The head was in a stout leather case that had a brass riveted had a brass riveted belt loop. "It goes on your belt," his mother spoke, now without looking at him. There were some farm trucks on the road now, and she had to weave through them and watch traffic. "The man at the store said you could use it, you know. In the woods with your father?" Dad, he thought. Not my father. My dad. "Thanks. It's really nice." But the words sounded hollow, even to Brian. "Try it on. See how it looks on your belt." And he would normally have said no. That it looked too hokey to have a hatchet on your belt. Those were the normal things he would say, but her voice was thin, had a sound like something thin that would break if you touched it. And he felt bad for not speaking to her. Knowing what he knew, even with the anger, the hot white hate of his anger at her, he still felt bad for not speaking to her. And so, to humor her, he loosened his belt and pulled the right side out and put the hatchet on. The rethreaded the belt. Scooch around so I can see. He moved around in the seat, feeling only slightly ridiculous. She nodded, just like a scout, my little scout. And there was the tenderness in her voice that she had when he was small. The tenderness that she had when he was small and sick, with a cold, and she put her hand on his forehead, and the burning came into his eyes again. And he had turned away from her and looked out the window, forgotten the hatchet on his belt, and so arrived at the plane with the hatchet still on his belt. Because it was a bush flight from a small airport there had been no security, and the plane had been waiting, with the engine running when he arrived, and he grabbed his suitcase and pack bag and run for the plane without stopping to remove the hatchet. So it was still on his belt. At first he had been embarrassed, but the pilot said nothing about it, and Brian forgot it as soon as they took off and began flying. More smell now. Bad. Brian turned again to glance at the pilot, who had both hands on his stomach and was grimacing in pain, reaching for the left shoulder again as Brian watched. Don't know, kid. The pilot's words were a hiss, barely audible. Bad aches here. Bad aches. Thought it was something I ate, but... He stopped as a fresh spasm of pain hit. Even Brian could see how bad it was. The pain drove the pilot back into the seat, back and down. I've never had anything like this. The pilot reached for the switch on his mic cord, his hand coming up in a small arc from his stomach, and he flipped the switch and said, This is flight 46, and now a jolt took him like a hammer blow, so forcibly that he seemed to crush back into the seat, and Brian reached for him. Could not understand at first what it was, could not know. And then he knew. Brian knew. The pilot's mouth went rigid. He swore and jerked a short series of slams into the seat, holding his shoulder now, swore and hissed. Chest! Oh God! My chest is coming apart! Brian knew now. The pilot was having a heart attack. Brian had been in the shopping mall with his mother when a man in front of Paisley's store had suffered a heart attack. He had gone down and screamed about his chest. An old man, much older than the pilot. Brian knew. The pilot was having a heart attack, and even as the knowledge came to Brian, he saw the pilot slam into the seat one more time. One more awful time he slammed back into the seat, and his right leg jerked, pulling the plane to the side, and the sun twisted, and his head fell forward, and spit came. Spit came from the corners of his mouth, and his legs contracted up into the seat, and his eyes rolled back in his head until there was only white. Only white for his eyes, and the smell became worse, filled the cockpit, and all of it so fast, so incredibly fast that Brian's mind could not take it in at first, could only see it in stages. The pilot had been talking just a moment ago, complaining of the pain. He had been talking. Then the jolts came. The jolts that took the pilot back had come, and now Brian sat, and there was a strange feeling of silence in the thrumming roar of the engine, a strange feeling of silence and being alone. Brian was stopped. He was stopped. Inside he was stopped. He could not think past what he saw, what he felt. All was stopped. The very core of him, the very center of Brian Robinson, was stopped and stricken with a white flash of horror, a terror so intense that his breathing, his thinking, and nearly his heart had stopped. Stopped. Seconds passed. Seconds that became all of his life, and he began to know what he was seeing, began to understand what he saw, and that was worse, so much worse than he wanted to make his mind freeze again. He was sitting in a bush plane roaring 7,000 feet above the northern wilderness with a pilot who had suffered a massive heart attack and who was either dead or in something close to a coma. He was alone, in the roaring plane with no pilot. He was alone. Alone. And that's it for Chapter 1, my friends. Let me know if you would like to continue with Hatchet another time. I think we've got a lot more pages to go. If you're interested in another AJK Reads. A quick hello today. Hey, thank you very much. We're actually just ending, so you're just in time. So thank you for popping in, man. Hope all is well. But yes, do let me know, either now or in Discord, if you would like to hear more of AJK Reads. more of Hatchet specifically. I hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed that first chapter, although there were a couple hiccups on my end. I'm sure there will be more to come. You guys know me. Hey, you have a good day too, man. Appreciate that. To you and to everyone else that's watching, thank you so much for watching. And remember this, all the way from Hawaii, the world needs you. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I will see you all later. And that said, maybe go out and read on the shore and upload it to the YouTubes. I might do, if I'm not walking around, I might have a good enough signal to broadcast from like the network. I might be able to just get a stream in if it's sitting in place. It's when you're walking around that I find that the signal really breaks down. You hit dead spots. So if you're down for that, I would actually love to go read on the shore maybe this week sometime if I find the time. It's gonna be pretty packed, so I'll do what I can. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for the feedback as well. It means a ton. That being said, see y'all later. Enjoy your evening, guys. It's pretty late there, I think. All right, bye bye.